Right.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. I'm Carlos Gomez, and we don't have a guest this week because we're going to go deep.
You got me.
You're not a guest. You're a co-host. Speaking of co-host, that one right there is Charlie B. Williams III.
What's up, nation? It's been a little bit, but I'm back.
Nacionales.
I got my favorite jacket on. It's cool. Let's go.
That's interesting. Because you have your favorite jacket, I have my favorite Jack Casper's hat. I told you.
It has been a week off. I see. This is what happens when we have a week off.
I got rest. I got some rest.
I didn't.
Oh, hey, while we're here, if you're watching live, you can go ahead and use the chat there. And if you're not live, you can. That's right. Use the Sketch Zone hotline. That's 408 Sketch 8. That's 408-753-8248. International callers like Dave Atsy, go ahead and use 011-408-753-8248. Dave Atsy's name will come up later because he used the Sketch Zone hotline.
Oh, Dave. Shout out to Dave Atsy. He's in the chat. He's back. Dave, it's good to see you back.
Yeah, buddy. But
All
before
the way
we
from Australia.
But before we go there,
up,
let's go ahead and get into.
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you're painted.
We got two to cover though. We got two.
We do.
Oh yeah, that's right, huh?
We do.
So I take this one back. I forgot we weren't here.
Take it back. Steve.
Take it back. Take it back.
2 weeks ago.
We hit them all.
Hi, Shiloh.
Went in.
Look at these. Look at these comments though.
Yeah. Everyone, WTF. Even Shiloh was tossing.
Bloody hell! I love
there.
that one.
What's up, Lynn?
All right, so we had Regal Chameleon, Bounty Hunter, Trembling, mid-century modern as a style in a limousine.
This is Mike's fault.
By the way, if you guys are seriously, if you guys aren't following Mike Myers on Instagram,
You should be.
he's taking off the bumpers, if you will. Hey, let's take a look at Shiloh. This is awesome. It's really cool to see Shiloh switching styles.
Yeah, this is
and
like
you can tell. If you can tell in his feed, sometimes he sticks with the line work. Sometimes his lines change. Like he's got a more pencil-y line. Sometimes it's a little more ink line. Sometimes he doesn't use lines because that's how much of a badass he is. Just
Is there a process for this one? Is there a process for this one?
Yeah, Shiloh. If there's a process, let's see it.
Because I want to know how you did this one. I'm assuming
this
that
is dope.
the regular way he normally did and just took away all the lines.
Nope, I disagree.
You do?
But what?
Maybe
what was
maybe the preliminary, like it's fun to watch Shiloh go through like his sketching process, because he tries things and keeps trying things until he finds something that he likes, and that makes me feel good that because I think Shiloh just picks up a stylus and touches the Cintiq and like magic automatically comes out. So I guess that's a short way of saying Shiloh's misery makes me happy, I guess. No, it's cool to see, my heroes actually, experimenting and not even just struggling, just looking for it.
Right.
And it's not like, for example, like Jack saw this happening in real time, in real IRL. Take that, Twitch. We were sitting with I can't remember his name, Peter Hahn.
Oh, okay.
And Peter was just like, he legit is crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Peter Hahn would put ink down and the ink would just turn into things.
Well,
Jack,
you've seen his style. It's like that kind of super detailed.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he doesn't do any there's no structure, no sketch. He just like goes right into it, and it just kind of starts as a couple of small details, and then it all grows and it just it's
turns
really
into something
crazy to watch because I certainly don't work that way. I know a lot of people don't work that way, but it's nutty because if you see a process video, there's no process. It's almost just like wiping on.
So Shiloh said that he did post a rough process. I'll take a look while we're chatting about. But anyway, so let's take a look. So yeah, again, Shiloh, you're amazing. I love watching you work. If I'm ever Landon was with us too. He says Peter Hahn looks like
Rorschach test.
Yeah, a Rorschach test.
Rorschach. Yeah.
Rorschach. So yeah, anyway. Shiloh, one of these days I'm gonna watch you work in real life and we're just gonna hug it out.
So creepy.
I know. At what point have I not been?
He's gonna watch you work and hug it out.
This is Art Joey Ball.
Okay.
I like this one. He's got little motion lines in there, blur streaks. He left the shutter open just a little bit longer.
Just a little.
Just to let you know. Show you what he's working with.
Great job, Joey. I like it. Let's see. This is Summer and the Mutts. Look at she's got this cute little sexy pose. I just realized.
Yeah, you gotta look closely to see the pistol.
I thought her head was cocked like a certain way where she was like, she's kind of mean.
Her head is cocked like a pistol.
She's like, yo, don't move. This is like some Tina Turner, Ike Turner type stuff. This
right.
And the hands in the foreground, you're getting held up.
Yeah. She's like, you ain't beating me today.
Nope, not today. Proud Mary, keep on shooting.
Got the pearl necklace, got grandma's pearls on.
Shooting.
She was on the way to some event, Emmys or something.
Mm-hmm. Shooting on Ike Turner.
Like, I need some spending money.
Right. Time to go to work, kid.
Don't make me return this guest.
This one's really cool. Iggy Doodles.
I love this one.
This is really cool. This
Iggy Doodles is bringing the fire every week, and it's exciting because he likes it. He said on Instagram today, as a matter of fact, that he's been enjoying these. Listen to this, because all of you young artists that are looking to beef up your portfolio, Iggy Doodles said he's having fun with these because they're all going in his portfolio.
Bam.
Boom.
Bam.
Great job. I love this one.
Yeah, that deserves that one.
Here, let's take a look at some close-ups.
I love that. That's how he solved the aspect ratio of like a really long car. He just kind of retro style split it up into layers.
Yeah,
and it works so well with the like retro
characters. Are great too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent
job.
Beautiful job, Iggy Doodles. Ignacio.
Boy, Iggy, keep it up.
All right, let's see. We got Sketchbook Jack.
Kind of weird.
This is
getting into his color bag again.
We gotta talk. You okay?
Love the colors.
Feeling a little queasy, and I know.
What's wrong, Jack?
I don't know. I saw mid-century modern, and I was like, okay, let's go with like a weird like limited palette. And somehow I landed on purple. I went through a couple. I had more like a green one since they were chameleons, but I don't know. I landed on purple.
I like
it. I like it.
I don't know why they're all.
Jack uses color, guys. Jack uses color. I think he like blanks out and wakes up. Oh, cool, it's purple. All right, let's go with it. Woo. Got to do a black and white image after this.
This is mine. That's supposed to be a limo with some fins and them big tail lights and the little. Oops! I just realized that this one has one of those little pop-up thingies, and this one doesn't. Oops!
That's all right.
I mean, it broke off.
It
broke off.
Yeah, it probably
it's an
broke
old car. And the bounty hunter. This is Dog the bounty hunter.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. And
I saw you did the white beater.
I saw the little sheriff's badge, and I was like, okay, I got it.
Well, look at the arm thing, the little arm thing.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this week.
Or
last week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Toad composer, open water.
Water.
Maestro
killed again.
Killed it.
Look at how different this style is.
Exactly. That's my point exactly. So,
who is this?
That Toad is
Shiloh.
So damn happy. I love it.
It's not. This is Shiloh's?
Yeah.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And this is the cool thing. Like,
or somebody
if you're because he's my teacher.
Yeah.
He's my daddy. So yeah, if you're an artist and you're starting to feel like you are stagnating creatively, try a completely different style. Actually, do this first. Go to Instagram.com/Shiloh illustration. Take a look at everything that's there and be flexible.
Look at the whole page.
Work it.
Yeah,
so yeah, I thought this was beautiful.
What did you call this one? This is like more. It's like feels like a children's book illustration. But one of those really detailed
definitely
ones.
Painterly / what's the dry?
Pastel.
Yeah, like a dry pastel feel.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
Does he have close-ups of this one? I gotta go look at his page.
I love how happy that Toad is.
Oh, he's happy. He's like,
that was a brilliant idea.
I got it. This is gonna be a hit.
I know what to do. Every time I go to crack a joke, Charlie is drinking. I'm gonna make him spit up water by the end of the night.
I know what to do. Yes. I didn't. Yo, Jack, you might need to make that a clip. Like some audio clip.
Go back and find which episode that was.
What episode was that? That would be. I don't even know.
Iggy Doodles again, crushing it, and Ignacio will play with styles too.
Yeah,
he's not a one-trick pony. That guy, he messes around a little bit more too. I like it.
It's clever to put him on like a little island or a rock thing.
Yeah. Let's see who else is here. Oh, mine.
Oh, look at you with the depth of field.
You see that? Every time I hang out with you guys, I learn something new.
Oh, that's a violin player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did not know what to do with the background. I threw something together. Not gonna lie.
Put some water back.
Yeah. I'm like, look, there's water. Moving on. I was pretty pleased with the way this guy came out. Mm-hmm. The conductor / composer.
I guess you could have put like a seashelled amphitheater or something. That's mean.
Yeah.
Tell you to draw the amphitheater. Disregard it.
Moving on. And then you got Jack killing these black and whites, boy.
Back. In groove.
It's a little messy, actually. I'm not fully satisfied with the composition.
Is he on? Okay, so he's on top of a violin.
Yeah, it's like floating in the water. But the band members kind of get a little messy. Not super easy to read, but
fair enough.
Yeah. So that means it's time for fun prompt. Fun prompter. All right, chat room. I know that there's a little bit of a delay. Which should we keep checked.
Type it
We
in.
have
Type it in.
adjective, animal, character, action, style, and location. If you guys want to go crazy, you have to check with Shiloh. We can check all of them.
I was impressed how many people went for that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, there was a lot of them really liked it.
I gotta say, they did kind of work together. It was a happy coincidence, but yeah, it was a tough one.
All right. What do you
You're gonna
guys
have-
think
you're gonna
while
have to
we
pick
wait? While we wait for these guys.
Well,
I always like character.
and I always like.
Okay, so we'll leave character. Charlie, do you have one?
I like style.
You just want to see what else is in there.
Hey, what are you talking about?
We could just leave it at that.
Can we stump Shiloh? We try, but it's impossible. That guy's a badass, dude.
Then there's one that he was like, "No, I'm not doing that."
I am going to pick.
Who put action
I
in?
was gonna
We haven't
say
done
action
action in a
too.
long time.
I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah?
do action too.
Oh.
So let's see. A werewolf stopping.
We did Warner Brothers.
Oh.
We can swap that.
Swap that. Lock the other two.
Chiking.
No, we did werewolf.
We did?
Thought you said we did werewolf already. Maybe we did.
No, we did a style. We did Warner Brothers style.
Oh, gotcha.
Or how about Landon said location? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. How about werewolf stopping at a lecture hall?
Or stopping the whole lecture hall because he's a freaking werewolf. Or the lecture hall is stopping the werewolf.
That'd be ridiculous.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Little building with legs.
How about we do werewolf lecture hall? Lecture hall is going to be crazy too, though.
Yeah, I could pass on lecture hall.
Okay, we'll do.
It's not because I'm lazy. It's because
No, it's so weird.
How about a werewolf fencing in a ravine?
All right, refresh my memory. Ravine.
It's like a little river.
Is that like on the part pit on the side of the road?
Like a little canyon pit thing, like a.
Usually on the side of the road, right?
Yeah,
or like it could even be deeper than that. It's like a.
See, we were fine until Landon said location. Just kidding. Love you, Landon. All right.
I'm okay with it.
Anyone?
It's okay.
How about werewolf fencing in the woods?
Well, there you go. I mean, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
In the woods that just happen to have a ravine.
Man, we're struggling with this one.
Because you turn my style off.
I could do werewolf fencing in the woods because it could be making fences rather than fencing like with swords.
Right.
Or maybe
it's kind of like planking, but
maybe the woods aren't the location, but they're the woods being used for the fence.
More so Inglewood.
The wood. Putting up his fence.
Little white
we can roll with werewolf fencing in the woods.
Dude,
all right. Good with this.
Oh, I know he's climbing.
All right, that's it.
Let's go up to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
Jack, do you want to show off a little something?
I do. I want to do a shameless plug slash. It will probably actually lead to we can have a little discussion about the business side of being an artist. So I don't know. Some people don't know because I kind of keep a lot of this stuff hush hush until it's ready to go. But I work on a lot of side projects, and one of them is ready to go. We're entering phase one, where we're basically at the point where we're gathering investors to back this project. We're not using Kickstarter. It's like a traditional business method of gathering investors. And the phase one of this is I will share my screen and I will drop the link so Carlos can drop it in
Drop it. Exclusive.
Drop the link.
Drop it in the chat. So this is just like a teaser
Try
trailer.
dropping it. Try dropping it in the chat.
It won't let me. It always blocks it.
We got to figure out how to turn that off. I'm sure we have control over
I
that.
added you as a moderator.
Okay, let me try it. Hey, no, blocked it.
Am I a moderator?
I have to figure out what the hell your name is.
Charlie BW.
Anyway, drop the link there.
That's the video.
Let me do it.
So, this here is called, for those of you who remember, I did a children's book a while back about a pirate who learns the ABCs, and that has since kind of evolved into an educational property where we're following this pirate and his buddy Crow around and learning all sorts of different things. So phase one is we're actually going to develop an interactive educational app using the pirate and the crow. And so we did a little teaser to just kind of show what the animation and style would look like. And you should be able to hear how the sound. Stop me if you don't.
Looking good.
Did it do that?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, now I got to start over.
Looking good. Stay the course. Oh dear, a barge. Barge.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Oh, man.
Barge.
Buffering.
There we go.
This streaming.
Sail away with Pirates RBC's iPad app. All clear. Watch your step. Rope. Learn the alphabet, math, science, arts, critical thinking, problem solving, and creative exploration. P-I-R-A-T-E. Pirate.
Concussion.
PiratesRBCs.com.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, little explanation. This was done
Please tell me.
using our game assets. So
Our game assets.
our game assets. So that's pretty much what the app will look like. And we have a whole pitch package and all this type of stuff in a marketing plan. And we've got a money guy on board. And like, this is like legit. And kind of the first thing that most people say is like, hey, Jack, the app market is super flooded. Why the hell are you doing an app? Everybody's already done that. You're never going to get noticed. So we've kind of got this really strong plan of actually a third of our budget is devoted purely to marketing. So we'll be doing everything from, advertising in other people's apps, from, Facebook and Instagram and direct email marketing and, finding mommy bloggers and things like that. But also we will be kind of cross advertising. So kind of this whole entire brand is kind of a I don't want to say multimedia because that's a real word, but it's a multi-medium in that there will be apps starting first with ABCs and letters, but then we'll also have a math island and a science cove and a planet Earth. So it'll kind of expand. But then one of the other big things we want to do is do animations in this style, shorts for YouTube that will hopefully gain enough views on their own that they are self-funding in creating revenue. But more importantly, they're going to act almost as little mini commercials that sort of push you back to these other products. And I don't want to give away too much because we're still kind of, some stuff's in the work, but we have kind of a really fun premise for how those YouTube shorts are going to work. They're gonna have kind of a fun little gag gimmick to them that I think is going to be a really fun series. And Shiloh's asking what's it animated in. So it was animated all in Maya, and then obviously exported through Game Engine technology. This had some additional, compositing help just because we want to make it look super pretty for a teaser. But we've done some technical tests, and it'll be Maya straight through Unity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it's a good move.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, I mean, obviously, I just want to get the word out. I want to share with people what we're doing because there's going to be, more announcements later as we get closer to funding and, all that types of stuff. But I also wanted to kind of tie in the conversation about like being an independent, kind of artist / entrepreneur, because it's not at all what school trains you for. And
Yeah.
I think everybody has this vision of like, I want to run my own company. I want to be, I want to build this product. I want to do this comic book, whatever. But, unless you're just doing it by yourself and you're getting self-funded on Kickstarter, or you have some magical Uncle Scrooge that gives you a ton of money, you basically become a businessman. And there's people go to school for this. I mean, there's entire schools and degrees and master degrees and extended. A business thing is it's a whole thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't get trained any of that in school.
Nope.
And now that I'm here, I feel, like a million miles back, and I've been learning so much so quickly. But kind of my original point was, you hear all these kids say like, oh, I want to be the, what's your dream in 5-10 years? Oh, I want to run my own studio. And it's like, okay, pump the brakes. Like, do you actually know what's involved in doing that? It's not, making of the art is such a small, it's funny to say, but it's such a small compartment of the actual process.
Yep.
Everything from reaching out and gaining investors, which, you also have to just work on your personality, just like who you are, because you end up becoming, a salesman, and you literally are selling yourself. I mean, that's kind of where that term comes from. Like, you're a sellout, you're selling yourself. I mean, yeah, you are. You want people to like you. You want people to like your product. You want people to like you enough to give you money. So it's a really kind of fun and interesting project, and I've learned a lot, and it's really cool. But I want to just kind of start that conversation about art school seems to prep people to be artists, and that's it.
Yeah. I want to drop this in here super quick, and we can talk about this next week. But some of the things that some of the moves that Adobe is making, they just bought a company by the name of Magneto for $4.75 billion with a B dollars. We're going to talk about that later. And then I think it was when was it last? I was doing research. No, they just bought Marketo today for $4.75 billion, and in May they bought Magneto for $1.6 billion. And all of that information, all of that stuff pertains directly to what we're about to talk about, and that was an accident.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the business side of things, there's a lot of so what Marketo does is it handles a lot of those things that you were talking about, Jack, like the marketing, the advertising, all that stuff.
When you say it handles it, what does that mean?
They build unique platforms for marketers and advertisers and businessmen to help sell products in the mobile and online space. Yeah.
So Marketo is basically Marketo is a marketing automation company for enterprise marketing. So think Salesforce. Salesforce, Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP, right? So everything that you're trying to do, you're reaching out to advertisers. you're reaching out to possible people that could maybe buy into this idea, or whoever your customer is. You're going to in Adobe here in the next little bit, you're going to be able to do content or not. Well, yeah, they have content management stuff already. They have an ad service. Now this is going to let you manage your relationships with other people. And then, so if you've ever used Salesforce at all, it's basically a Rolodex on absolute steroids. So you're going to be able to enter in a customer information, and like where you met them, and then there's different stages of the relationship. You just began a relationship. You might be able to move further in the relationship. They're actually buying things from you in this relationship. They've been a long-term customer. And this is all the, hey, Laker Vox, how's it going? Yes, I am quite a bitch. But yeah, so this is all the boring stuff that people don't realize that needs to happen when you're trying to run your own company.
Yeah, we have marketing guys at work that are all up on all these type of deals. Like,
yeah, you're
totally
actually talking to a guy currently that actually needs all of this stuff, because I'm constantly hustling for work. I'm constantly talking and building relationships. And then, like today, for example, I was on the phone with 3 different people. Hey, I need this done. I need that done. I need this done. I need that. Hey, I need to kick around some ideas. Are you available for lunch? And it gets to be crazy if you don't control that stuff, if you don't have a really good place to keep all that information. And that's all the crappy stuff that that they don't talk about in art school. Because it's, you know, people want to make pretty pictures. They want to see pretty pictures. They want to see a cool animation of this badass crow and this, you know, this this pirate that's dragging a ship or an R. So yeah, anyway, but we'll talk more on that later as it starts to unfold. But yeah, Adobe is moving into going from the creative end of things to actually like ad campaigns to then analytics.
Yeah, analytics.
And then analytics then helps your customer relationship, because if, say, Jack, you have your website, which is, what is it?
Sketchbookjack.com.
I was going to say rbc.com, but that one too.
We don't have an official website for that launch yet.
Okay.
This is
and even Sketch Zone, like people will come up to us and ask us how many listeners we have and how many, what's our reach.
Yeah.
And that's all and that's like literally that's what you're building up towards.
Yeah.
So all these mergers and acquisitions that Adobe's been doing, they just spent like $6 billion in the past few months. And it's all because of trying to further their reach. So imagine you open up Photoshop, you design some ads, those ads go out, and then they're customized to, is your customer seeing these, is your customer on a phone, on an iPad, on any kind of device, on a computer? And I don't think they're going as far as TV, but definitely YouTube and stuff like that might end up being a part of it too.
Web, social media, all that stuff. Email. Marketing blast.
Yeah. So anyway, those are all the things that I know when I was in school. I always talked about, I want to run my own studio, and now I'm running my own studio, and I'm like, hashtag overrated.
Mm-hmm. Mm. There's a lot of extra stuff. That's like some of the things that like this guy we've had on the show a couple times. That's some of the things that Wes Burke over at the CG Cookie does now. He had to learn from all the years of like transitioning to being a business owner, where now he did a bunch of business classes for downtown this year and got into what's the guy's name? Goldman Sachs had a special incubator program that he was in. And that's kind of the things he was learning just based off of like how to sell your business, how to grow your business. And, you know, he's full business guy now, businessman, which he already had to learn all the stuff in terms of, he thought he was learning all the stuff by hand of like, you know, analytics and all that stuff over the years. But then when he took this class, he realized that no, there's so much more that he needed to do when he got into his incubator. And now he's moving full steam ahead. So that'd be another good research too, Jack, to talk to too, because he could tell you for sure about the transition he's taken in the last year with that being in that incubator. And this is him taking classes, going down to the city. I mean, he lives I think it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour train ride each way or something like that he was doing once or twice a week. That he's been doing for the last year. I think he's done with the program already, but he got picked and everything and restructured his business plan and all this other stuff to forward CG Cookie, you know. So it's kind of interesting, all the things that go into that side of the promoting your business and growing your business and setting it up the right way so it has the right reach, as well as so it, once again I keep saying growing, but so that it does actually grow and you're not just working it, you know, but it's actually working for you, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's cool. So it's really cool. And artistic question for the videos and stuff like that. You're using Unity. Are you using how much of the development in Unity you're doing? I know you're doing all the are you doing any animations?
No. So this is basically my business partner and I would be the producers and or creative vision.
Nice.
We have an Indian company ready, kind of on standby, ready. They produced a test for us, and actually they did a lot of what you saw there.
Cool.
So it's like, you know, it's a legit total pipeline ready to go, kind of beginning to end. We have stuff kind of scheduled out, everything from the design phase to the asset builds to the prep of the programming, and then obviously the beta testing and the launch release and the support afterwards. So it's it's like a whole mega process.
Go ahead. Sorry. How much of the creative process are you a part of?
Currently, right now, 100%. It's, you know, we entirely are doing especially in these early days where we don't have all of the funds yet, and it's, you know, sweat equity, and we're trying to just do proofs of concept and all of that. It's, you know, it's 100% just total our vision. I mean, we've had quite a few consultants, and we had, you know, our marketing agent has helped us kind of tailor certain things and certain wording and, you know, these types of things. But yeah, as far as like the creative vision, currently it's literally 100%. But the goal would be that once we get the studio involved, and they're basically, you know, there's a paycheck involved, and, you know, everybody's being paid, and it's like a proper business, that we would wean off a little bit, and we would effectively be, you know, the design visionaries, and then kind of leave the tech stuff to them and assume, you know, we can come in here and there with general ideas and make sure everything's working, but we would kind of ease off a little bit. But, you know, the intent is that there'd be many apps. It would be a suite of apps, and then there'd also be supporting material like shorts and board games and books and things like that. But so for the first phase, we obviously will have a lot of involvement. And
right. For sure.
Assuming that does really well, then we kind of taper off, and others will begin to manage that.
But you were saying something about you have an Indian company that helped you with the development.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So as far as the development and the creative, let's say let's say this thing that you just showed,
Mhm.
that's 100% of your effort, right?
Mhm.
Well, your team's effort.
Yes.
How much of that 100% were you a part of?
So the original, I mean, obviously the entire design, I mean, the conceptual design all came from my illustrated book, and then it went through quite a few, revisions, because obviously the super graphic, stark nature of the book doesn't fully translate to like moving video. Like, so some things kind of had to be adjusted. We had to incorporate some more grayscale stuff and some kind of depth effects and things to make it feel more what the eye is used to, in moving animation and cinematics, but also just to make it a little richer. So like we went through our own internal design phase to kind of prep it for that. And then we did some of the asset builds ourselves. Like I did a lot of matte paintings and texturing and things of assets, but the Indian studio did most of the model builds, the rigging. And then the intent was that they were going to do all of the animation. Like we had a storyboard that they were following, and some of it was animatic and timed out. The intent was that they were going to follow that, and we would go through the standard review process. But we found rather quickly that the style of animation we were going for wasn't really in their repertoire, and wasn't. It's not what most games out there right now currently have. So it was a really, really steep learning curve, and we ended up taking on a lot of the animation ourselves. But then, it went through, it went back to them for some stuff, for some renderings, for some final polish, but we did also a lot of the final compositing and look and all that stuff ourselves. And we supervise audio. Actually, every single audio thing you hear in there is me. That's kind of, we're going for this kind of silly, goofy effect where even though it's a sound effect, it's made by mouth, and it kind of has this weird, quirky feel to it. But we had a guy who did the sound mixing. We had a guy who did the music. So there was a team involved. But at this point, we are very, very heavily involved in the creative part of it.
Because what I want to make clear to folks that are interested in going down this path is you have a vision, and it's a very fine line, because if you try to do it all yourself, you might not ever make it.
Yeah, I mean that's what started this entire endeavor, is that he, and much in the same way we developed Sketchstone. He and I, my partner Slavic, we've had on the show. We were developing our own content separately, and we constantly would bounce things off each other and kind of get feedback. And at a certain point, we just kind of realized, well, this is stupid. Like, why don't we just join forces? It'll make this a lot easier. But that's kind of only step one. I mean, that's effectively what we've done here on Sketchstone. But it's like to grow that larger and to produce products and potentially a studio. Yeah, you cannot do it yourself. I mean, there have been cases out there where people do entire games themselves or entire animated things themselves, but
wherever
it takes. Yeah, I work with a guy who makes his own games. It takes him 3 or 4 years to make one game, and they're like kind of small scale, very limited games. To your point, exactly.
I'm gonna chime in here real quick. If you guys remember back a handful of years ago, I did Choopy Goes Cow Tipping, and you want to talk about limping to the finish line. And it wasn't even that deep of a game. It's my little chupacabra running around tipping cows over.
Yeah.
And it was 2D drawn, and then I did all the programming, and it was a pain.
Yeah. And
I
then
wish I had a team.
And then, well, that's the thing. And then on top of it, you get to a certain point where your expertise just start to fall off. I mean, nobody's good at everything. And there are people who can do an entire product themselves. I've seen it done. Like Bill Plimpton is like one of the most famous. Like that guy just churns out these shorts, and he does literally everything in it. But they're 2 or 3 minutes long, and he only puts one out every like 5 years, right? But you get to a point where you realize, okay, I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to music. And even if I can like plunk something out in GarageBand that might be passable, it's like it has to be mixed properly. Like there's all these other technical aspects that, you know, set the threshold differently from a professional release that somebody's actually going to pay for, from something that, you know, you're just kind of doing for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And let me ruin the dream for everyone. You have an idea, and that's wonderful. And you start working on it. Fantastic. There are hidden things that pop up that you don't expect. And it's for no other reason that it's your first time doing something, or maybe you overlook something to that effect. There's always hidden things,
Little things, yeah,
that you don't plan for. And if you're kind of on a roll, or you finally jump some hurdles, and you get to a point where you're starting to get things, and then you find another hurdle, but then that hurdle turns into 3 or 4 more hurdles, you might get discouraged and you might quit.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many moving components that, I mean, just the project has. But when you start working with the team and it grows larger, that introduces an infinite more number of variables. I mean, when you're just doing it yourself and you have to rely on yourself, you kind of know what your limitations are. You know how you work. You're going to work through the problem, and you may, if you can't work through it, you may sacrifice and figure out another way around it, and you're fine with that. But when there's a budget involved, and there's a timeline involved, and there's talent involved, and there's personalities involved, you hit so many speed bumps and kind of things along the way that you're constantly just kind of, you know, hobbling and jumping to the finish line, and you kind of have to be okay with that. You kind of have to just accept that that's part of the process. And, you know, I mean, that's part of the reason, you know, folks buffer their budget, or they allow more time than they need. Because, I mean, it goes without saying that everybody who's worked in a studio or worked on a long-term project knows that it very rarely comes in on time or on budget. Yeah, it's a fun. That said, you know, okay, you could say that it sort of has ruined the dream, but it's also incredibly rewarding to have something that I mean, this literally started about 6-7 years ago. It's just a throwaway. I was sitting at my desk at one of my other jobs, and I was feeling a little like unfulfilled creatively, and I was like, I want to do a children's book. What can I do that I know I will actually finish? So I made these parameters for myself. I want to draw black and white, something I can draw literally with Sharpies and, you know, pens on printer paper, so I can just do it wherever I'm at. I can bust them out, and I did this entire book in like 3 weeks, like beginning to end, like all the design, all the drawings, like it was just bang, bang, bang. And it was sort of kind of a throwaway. And even, you know, and to be honest, the book hasn't sold that well. Like, people aren't super interested in the book, but the concept behind it, people are really into, and they're really into the look and the thought of it. But there's a lot of things I would change about the book itself. And even with, among our other properties, like, this is the other funny thing. I was talking to Landon about this the other day. We have quite a few other properties, and this was sort of the one that I viewed as throwaway. Like, okay, it was fun, and maybe it could be something. Why don't we just drop it in our portfolio? And this has been the one that has the longest, fastest moving legs, and people are so behind this. And I think a lot of it has to do with that it's for kids, and it's, you know, it's semi-educational, and it looks so different than most other kids stuff, and you kind of have to be ready to run with that and just say, you know what, this is what the market wants. And I was talking, was one of the other points I was talking to Landon about. You know, there's a difference between being an artist and being an artist in the commercial industry. Yep. You are making a product. You're making something that people need to want or buy or view or purchase, you know, whatever it may be. So, you know, if you've got something that's hot, you kind of got to run with it if that's, you know, if that's your moneymaker. It's
right.
I mean, because I know we joke about this casually on the fun prompt. Like, black and white is my thing. It kind of has been for a while. I really love it. And, you know, but when I post something in color, people like poop themselves and they get like all excited. And then I start thinking, I'm like, man, am I doing something wrong? Should I be like going towards that? And it's, you know, I think in my case, what's that?
Yes.
He said yes.
Tell you.
But that's my point exactly, and something that I've learned with following this property is that, you know, when people have an interest to something, I mean, we all got in this in the first place to get noticed and to have people be interested in our work. So why would we suddenly get upset and be like, they don't like that work, they like this work I do, and then like get upset about that? It's like, it's still your work. That's kind of the whole intent. You like started this in the first place.
Yeah. And that's a really important point to make too. You know, going back to the example of Adobe wants to broaden their horizons. So buying a relationship, customer relationship management software doesn't, they're like, okay, you know, but they understand that their bread and butter, they still get the majority of their income through Creative Cloud and Photoshop and Illustrator. So it's like that. Like, what would either one of you guys say? What would you say to someone who has that one idea and is like, ooh, this is my idea, I'm gonna hold it super dearly and don't you touch it? A little overprotective. What do you say to someone like that?
Charlie, were you gonna say something?
I tell them chill out. You know, I like
Chill out.
I literally do. I literally feel like I talk to this my artists all the time. Like the point that Jack made about being a commercial artist is different than being an artist here at your house, sitting working on something you just like to do. And the chill out part is more so of like, let it go. If you're an artist, you should be able to make 100 of those same like precious ideas that you're holding on to that one. Yeah. If you can't make 100 of them, then you suck.
Yeah, and that's,
you know,
that is a completely valid and hard truth. That if you've only got one idea, then you're not much of an idea person. Yeah. You're not much of a creator. Like, you got to have other stuff in there.
So while
we're and I'm sorry for interrupting, but I have to throw this in here real quick. While we're talking about ideas and coming up with ideas, I highly suggest you guys go to YouTube and watch the episode where Joe Rogan, go to do a search for Joe Rogan Experience, Elon Musk.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's a really good episode.
Are we gonna go down? Yo,
no.
That's a really good episode. No, that's all I wanted to say, because he talked about.
I have thoughts on that whole thing. Cool.
But he goes on this run talking about how many ideas flow through his brain at one, and it's sad. It's almost heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But anyway, that go do that. Don't do it now because you're watching us. But after this, go ahead, Charlie. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So yeah, if you can't think of more ideas, then you suck. Then cool, keep your idea. I don't want to hear anything else anyway. But if you can, then let it go and then make another one that's even better. So let's say commercially, the untapped thing, if we're talking about Jack this evening, the untapped gold mine that is Jack's brain is his color, the way he thinks about color, because he's been doing black and white for 50 years. But the artistic side of fanboy side of me loves the black and white stuff that Jack does, right? But what would have happened hypothetically if Jack did that ABC book all in color? You know, with the way he thinks about color.
Quite honestly, it probably would have blended with every other book.
I mean, but Jack does color differently than.
Well, no, I mean, I get what point you're trying to get at, and I think on the whole that is a very important point for me to look at in terms of just my sellable art style. But this property specifically, that's actually been a very interesting challenge / benefit. It started off that it had a lot of, I won't say negative, but it had a lot of hesitant reaction, and it only came from parents. Parents were very, well, why is it black and white? Kids don't like black and white. in which
Jack
I
says-
have. Sorry, go ahead.
Or Dave Etsy says, Jack, you're looking good for 50.
No, I've been doing black and white for 50. I'm 75 years old.
You're right.
The society and parents have this stigma and this kind of thought that black and white is no good for kids. Kids like soft and fluffy and pastel colors, which is just patently not true. I mean, I grew up on kids' book. I mean, all the kids' books printed prior to the 70s or 80s, were all in black and white. I grew up on a ton of black and white stuff, and there's actually quite a bit of science about the way the eye evolves and understands black and white first. Obviously, at a certain point, you start to grow out of that, but we really quickly found that it was a prejudice that parents had, and when we've done focus groups, we've done interviews with kids and parents, and the kids don't notice it at all. In fact, my favorite is I asked one kid, I said, "So what do you think of the color?" And she goes, "I love it." And I go, "Even though it's black and white?" She's like, "Yeah, isn't that color?"
Yeah,
there you go.
And so it sort of has been, it still is a challenge. We still have to convince, because obviously people investing are going to be adults. They're going to be parents. They're going to be, and they're going to still have that stigma about black and white. And it is a challenge. But the benefit to it, we have found that it does make us instantly unique. We stand out incredibly well against literally anything else that's out there, particularly for kids. There is other black and white content, but not really for kids. And we've actually found in some ways that it's beneficial to what we're trying to do, particularly with words and letters and numbers, that you can actually show and educate easier. You can make things more, you're less confused about a bunch of colors, and you can kind of, almost like a textbook, there's a reason we read in black and white and not orange and brown.
Yeah. And even for the property itself, I was more just speaking in general in terms of like, how you use color. If it pops a color, if it's to draw attention to something. Yeah. If it's only the color on the screen, or on the page, it could be interesting for other projects and stuff like that. But definitely for the uniqueness of it, you guys.
So I can't really spoil the other part of this, but that's going for the YouTube market. But that actually will have a very unique use of color, but not quite in the way you think it does.
I'm sure it won't be, because
different.
So that's cool. So I can't wait to see that.
He's different. He's different.
Yeah, guys. So like, guys on the chat and stuff like that, and you guys listening right now, the one thing I've learned from being at an agency now for it's 3 years now. I just had my work anniversary, so it's 3 years now. There is you think as an artist, how to think up ideas, and I think the hardest thing that, like, personally, as I always go over, like, all right, how did that go this week? How do we do, or whatever? If I'm thinking about stuff outside of work, the hardest thing the hardest part of the brain that you have to train, I feel that artists think they're creative, is actually being creative in terms of coming up with ideas that resonate with whatever group that you're going with. We have a thing at work where we have kickoff meetings as well as ideation meetings about different things. Now, since I work at an experiential company, a lot of times we'll get a brief from said company, be it Microsoft, Under Armour, Ripa, whatever. Somebody's having a convention or a festival, and they want to do something, and then that's where you have to come up with an idea. Like, I think you don't learn that in school as much. Of like, cool, you have, brand A wants to do something at Coachella. They don't know what it is, but they want to do something to reach 18 to 34-year-olds. Go, and like, you being able to draw, you being able to do all this crazy stuff means nothing if you can't come up with a compelling idea. Cool, I want to do an LED floor that's tactile, and I want to do a digital runway, and the theme is like, see yourself as you want, or whatever, and build a whole deck around that. Like, and I think, like, when you get into like what Jack's doing now, he has to have a solid idea and then build on that idea. He's talked about having meetings. He's talked about having focus groups. He's talked about, I'm sure he had to do some type of presentation deck. I'm sure he had to then present that to investors at one point and present it to potential buyers and stuff like that. That level of being a creative thinker, that's different from being an environment artist, different from working at Disney, being an animator, different from working at a mobile game company or whatever. That's when you know if you're like truly creative or if you're just like an implementer, or and I've grown to appreciate those sessions, and then I've pushed myself to like speak up and try to come up with an idea. And bear in mind, Charlie's come up with ideas, falls flat in the room. And then somebody else will, speak up. Not quite, but we can try to do something like this. And then I come up with ideas that's actually hitting. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then we've had what we call level up days, where like we clear the schedule and we either break up into groups, or you can do it by yourself if you're feeling saucy. And you have a day, right? You have a brief, like the marketing department will say, yo, we have this client there. We have some irons in the fire. And then you kind of learn what it means to be a salesman or a marketing guy. No, thank you. Don't want that job. Don't ever want that job of hitting up those people randomly and smoozing people, whatever. But like, we'll sometimes we have some stuff to go off of to help people out. And sometimes people come up with like things totally on the top of their head. Dream projects they want to work on or whatever. I have a thing about working with Nike or so one of those type of companies like that, because when they do experientials, they don't care about a budget. so you can just do something crazy and cool. So I have all these things based on what I'm interested in. But the process of doing that is hard, especially if you're trying to come up with something by yourself. So it's you and your other coworkers that vibe with you and think alike, and you have 3 or 4, 5 or 6 hours in a day to come up with something and present it to everybody at the end of the day. And sometimes we've had some really cool things come out of those things. Other times they've been okay, but like, it's like exercising that creative side of the brain that most people don't think about when you're being creative. And then like, if you start to think of those things and start to do those things a little more, like come up with little exercises on like, what does it mean to build, not just the animated short, but a whole story and a backstory around it. What does it mean to write that out and like be able to articulate like that? Like, it's not just a story about, a family. It's a story about a family set in a certain time period that has hardships or whatever. Learn how to, what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Flesh things out or fully, so that, and then learn how to articulate that. Don't give it like, well, it's kind of a roundabout thing. It's really cool. It's going to have some action. No, learn how to articulate it. Yeah.
Don't assume that people are going to understand what you're trying to say, because if you walk in front of a bunch of people with stacks of money, the last thing they want to be like, so like, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know you want my money, and I know you need to be clear as to where we're going with this.
And this is when I understand just how, I feel like I communicate pretty well, but at the same time, I've learned that I have a little bit more of a technical mind than I thought I did too, because you got to learn how to communicate your ideas, but then don't get into the weeds. No one cares about how you're going to make it. They just want to understand the idea. That's the one part I struggle with at times when I'm thinking of something. So I always take a step back and like kind of pause. It's okay to pause when you talk, and then try to like say, cool, they don't care about that part. They just want to know this, because you can see it on somebody's face or people you work with or stuff like that. They're like, oh snap, he's about to go into every little piece about it. Here we go. No, you got to learn how to get straight to the point,
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I've sort of learned, not just with this property, but with some of the other stuff we're working on, is you have to be able to distill it. And, you've heard the term elevator pitch. Like, that's not a fake thing. It's legitimate. Like, people are busy. People don't have a lot of time to listen to you go on for hours and hours, unless it's your friend or whatever. But chances are the people who are going to help you out or who are going to be actually doing this or investing, they don't really have that much time, and they want to hear something that's going to grab their attention, and they want to hear the most concise version of what you're doing for 2 reasons. The first one is, of course, because they don't have a whole lot of time and they just want something fast and they want something that's catchy and hooky and sounds like marketable, right? I mean, you want to be able to say it quickly. But there's like another subtle reason that it really shows that you know what you're talking about so well that you can distill it into just like a couple of sentences. And that's not something that comes to you from just working on something for a week. Like you really have to have built something all the way up and then let it all crumble apart before you can basically say, this is da 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 da, and that's it. And it's kind of like you don't really get there without putting in this world building or this fleshing out of this conceptualizing. Like in order to really have such a strong, and because the thing is, it's not going to be the same 1 or 2 sentences every time. Depending who you're talking to, it might be like phrased slightly differently or focused on a different aspect of it because you know what that person's looking for. And you don't get there until you've pretty much broken everything you've tried to build so that you can see all the holes and understand how it works.
Yeah. I'm continually impressed with people who can do that. Yeah.
And it never fails. You can sit there and practice your elevator pitch and your world building in front of a mirror, which I highly suggest. But when you go to talk to someone about this idea, they receive it in a completely different way, and they ask you questions that you're just not ready for.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. Actually, I would say the majority of people that I've pitched this to or told this about have come up with a question that I wasn't really ready for. But I say I wasn't ready for it in that like I hadn't heard it yet or I hadn't really thought about that yet. But once you are so deep into this and have thought about it ad nauseum, just kind of, and you can do those elevator pitches, like there's not much anybody can throw at you that you're like, oh, well, here's how we would approach it. You know, it's at a certain point, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier, like you knowing your product or your art or whatever inside out is kind of key to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And we need to go back to being able to take criticism.
Yeah. That's
and while we're talking about that, let's make sure that we talk about that moment where you realize it's time to let go.
Yeah, I think everybody has that moment more than one time. I think no matter how commercialized of an artist, no matter how successful you are as a, businessman or a freelancer, and you've been doing this forever. I mean, I'm sure people like Shiloh and Dave and everybody can attest to this type of thing. You're going to go through moments where you feel like you've come up with something brilliant and you're really passionate about it, maybe because it's emotional to you or, it strikes some chord with you. And you get reattached, even though you've been doing this for 15 or 20 years, and you kind of keep going through this cycle where you have something that you're really attached to and means a lot to you. But then once you start advancing it into something that you're going to sell, we're assuming this is not just like I'm finishing an illustration that's meaningful to me and I'm going to sell it for people to put on their wall. Like that's a little bit of a different thing. But if you're going to develop this into a product that has to go into the market, basically be criticized endlessly, you have that moment time and time again, and you quickly, and it's not just on like overall, it's not like suddenly like I'm ready to let this product go or like this image go. It's kind of like there's all these little mini micro breakdowns. You're kind of like, yeah, okay, so I'm not that married to the voice. If you would prefer to get, Taylor Swift to do the voice, I'd be cool with that. Like you start making all these realizations about like, well, does that really ruin what I'm trying to do here? No, not really. Like I'm okay with that.
Right.
And obviously there's places where you put your foot down and it still means something to you because you have a vision for this and you have a direction. But the taking criticism part is so important, not just, for being out in the market, but it's also good for you as a developing artist because you're starting to understand what your audience actually wants and the way they interpret your work, because that's kind of the fun part about art is everybody views it from a different lens, from a different backstory, from a different history. And even though you may have intended it in a certain way, it may be received in a completely different way. And then you sort of have to kind of reevaluate what your intent was. And it's not personal. It's pure people. You have to remember, like, it's personal to you because you made it. But these people don't mean this personally. They see, I mean, within the age of Netflix and Hulu and all this other stuff, and Tumblr and Instagram, they're seeing, I mean, the amount of time people spend on one of your, you know, like 45-hour illustrations is literally like, oh, that's cool. Like, and they like keep going, you know? It's like the amount of content people consume. It's not personal. It's purely like, I wish that was, you know, it had superheroes in it. And then they move on. Like, don't take it any more personally than the amount of time they gave it.
Yeah. If you love it,
yeah, for sure.
If you love it, then work it, and do it for yourself. But I tell you, I've been working on. Well, I've been taking hella breaks, but I was working on Robots and Aliens for a long time, and coming up with the story, writing out the story, then coming up with the panels and the all this stuff. It's super time consuming, and someone's literally going to look at it for 5 seconds.
Like, cool.
Moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you should have passion for what you're doing, but understand you should do it for yourself first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know, I say this all the time. Not Sketch Zone, but Robots and Aliens was always an excuse for me to draw. I have to get better. I want to get better, and I'm halfway decent at telling stories, so I wanted to do that too. So I was using that as the vehicle for drawing, trying to get better at drawing, and trying to get better at storytelling, and stuff like that. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Then it's not for you. You know what? You know how powerful it is. Even Sketch Zone. I have people that are like my sister, for example. I went to LA to visit her, and she's like, you know, I tried to watch or listen to your podcast. It's just, and I'm like, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, Mimi, my Chicago sister, she's like, I don't miss an episode, and she's kicked in on the Patreon page, and she's like, let's go. You know, it's not for you. We're good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's long for me. You have to be interested with what we're talking about, and just be into it. And if you're not, it's okay.
Yep.
So yeah, let's talk about that moment where you've worked on something, and it's just like, it's that time. Like,
it's hard to figure out when it is.
Let that puppy lay down.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like gauge. I don't know if there's a true tell sign of like when it's time to let it go, unless, I don't know, maybe you guys have some like, you know, when it's time to let go. When, I don't know, or
this
or
might be a talk
like,
that I'm having to myself right now as we speak. You know, it might be time when you haven't touched that comic strip in like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, like maybe yeah, maybe that's the thing for sure. Is like,
But
if it goes a long time without you ever touching it, you know.
Right.
But, you know, then again, as an artist, I think it's common to dig back into your old stuff. And I mean, like the pirate. I mean, I did that book 6-7 years ago, and it literally sat in boxes in my closet. And here we are, like in the middle of this like massive undertaking. Yeah, I don't know if it is very quantifiable. I mean, you know, look at Charles Schultz, like Schultz. You know, how many times he got
a hard thing to.
How many times he got rejected? Like, people probably told him like 1 million times, like, dude, give it up. Nobody wants this.
There's a thing I heard. I don't know like a lot of great people that like were pitching businesses a bunch of different times. Oh, was it a commercial I heard? But it was like the Schultz one. They talked about Schultz.
Well,
they talked about.
It's probably the old Apple, the Crazy Ones ads, but like what was it? Walt Disney was I think he started like double-digit companies and failed at every one of them and went bankrupt like 2-3 times.
That's what it was. It was an ad about how many times these famous people like Walt Disney and Schultz and stuff applied for loans at the bank and got denied for the business they were trying to start. It was like a commercial like that, and it was like Walt Disney was like 100 and something sometimes. You know, it was like crazy before he.
And that's the conundrum, right? Because if you have the idea, a lot of times you don't have the money, and the people with the money don't want to risk that money on a new idea.
Yeah. Or, you know, one that they just don't have guarantees on.
Which was the story of the whole why game development in general, you know, marking back to 2012 when it finally caught up to that industry, why a lot of studios fail or a lot of big studios get closed down, because while technology is better and while the tools are better and while it looks better, now it costs more to do. So you're banking a lot of that stuff off of an idea, and the whole market as it stands now with the microtransactions as well as the downloadable DLC content that you'll get for a game. So a game is no longer $60. A game is really around $100 if you really think about it, but you'll pay the $60 when you first get the game, only to then need to have DLC content of $40, $20, $30 because they have to piecemeal the idea to you in order to make back that money, you know, because the $60 is not going to be enough ever, right? And then the development cost to make that game costs so much more that it's a risk. So what was happening when games got harder to make and started approaching movie budgets was that like games were coming out and weren't doing the return on the idea, thus the studio closes. And the guys who were funding those places, or the EAs or the big companies, are like, look, the business guys that we talked about in the first part of the show, they look at things differently than the artists, and they're like, yo, it's not worth it. You know, even when I was working at EA and when they eventually closed, they had 2 other really good games they were working on and never see the light of day. Because they're like, yeah, we see it, it looks great, but we're not behind it anymore. The idea is not gonna sell, right? And the game industry had to find new ways of like getting those games out there. Now, to the detriment of the people, it costs more, or you're not getting a full complete game if you know that there's unlocked content on the disc that you can't access. That's how it is now, right? And there's a whole moral thing with that people go back and forth with now, of like, why am I paying for stuff that I can't access on this download, on this disc, unless I pay for it, you know, based off of, you know, them trying to find more ways to make sure they get return on their investment, because the ideas are just too expensive to take a chance on, you know. It's
right.
It goes into a lot of different, you know, industries, and that's just one example.
Right. And again, it's one of the before you completely give up on it, it's a lot like Coach Jack just talked about. It's not that it's not that you want to give up on it. You keep that property there because you might need it later, and if it is that good, when you finally start making money, you can bring attention back to it. But it's good to keep something like that. It's still kind of in the back burner, just kind of because you have to find a way. Maybe the timing is just off.
Yeah. Often it is, you know, either the timing for the market or just the timing for you. Maybe you're just lacking some little missing piece of it that you haven't learned yet or you haven't experienced yet that just will make everything click.
Right. And maybe there's just a little thing that needs to change. For example, the Loud House, when that guy first started that idea, he had just like this bunny rabbit, and it was loaded with bunny rabbits. And he went to pitch after pitch after pitch, and no one wanted it. And eventually he said that he finished the pitch, and he was feeling down because they're like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but no. And then a lady was walking by and said, change it to people. And he was like, He changed it to people and got picked up, and now he's Loud House is out there. And it's a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that famous quote, that what is it? Art is never finished, only abandoned. I think that is true for pretty much every phase of it. Even the stuff that is successful and has made it. I mean, at some point it wears out and it just kind of fades away. And who knows? It might come back as Star Wars 25, 30 years later. Like, you never really know. But also even the stuff that's early on, you may like only get a couple pages into a script or half a sketch of a drawing and be like, this is just not working. And then you gotta kind of let it go. Like, sometimes it's all at various phases, that's kind of part of the process of creating,
Right. And you just don't ever know, like, that particular idea might have been the bridge to a different idea. Right. It's your learning process. And then that learning process takes you to another level. And then you grow from there. So as long as you're creating content, you should never feel like you're wasting your time. Or content might be a weird way to say it, but as long as you're focusing on that idea and putting time towards it, and you're learning from it, you should always look at it as that and push forward in that way. But focus. I mean, it's an idea is absolutely useless unless you put some muscle behind it.
Right.
There's a lot of really good ideas. How many times have you guys sat up somewhere and you're, maybe it's at like a restaurant or something, you and your friends are sitting there, and then someone walks in with, like a headband with a fan attached to it, and it's cooling them off because it's 95 degrees outside. And your friend looks over and says, man, I had that idea. I should have moved on it.
Yeah. People say that all the time. Yeah. They'll see it on QVC. Like, I thought of that 2 years ago. Swiffer.
Right?
Damn it.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think any ideas are if you're approaching it in the right way, I don't think any idea is a waste of time. It's going to be a learning experience. It's going to be, again, I use myself as an example. Whole robots and aliens thing. That's been a reason to draw. I should never sit at the table and say, I have nothing to do. And yeah, you just have to work on stuff. And all of a sudden, like Jack said, 6 years ago, he was doodling a pirate and a bird, and now it's turning into an app.
An empire.
Yeah. Speaking of friends that are coming out with some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
If you guys go to She Killed in Ecstasy, we've had him on the show a couple times. DJ Risky Business built a band, and they released their first single. And I'm spoiled because I've been listening to the entire album for about a month now.
Oh, really?
And it's and I'm not saying that he's not even here. So, but this album is, if you like things like what did he equate it to? I can't remember right now. Not Mass Effect, because that's a game. Anyway, go check it out. Go check it out. It's like, it's not even like you're thinking you would, you know, DJ Risky Business, you're thinking, no, he probably came out with some hip hop. Oh, because he's part of Midway. No, it's I can guarantee you you're not expecting this. And I'm telling you, this is
jazz
hot.
fusion. What is it?
Yeah,
Are you
kind of.
serious? Oh, now I'm just gonna go check it out. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's like electronic jazz.
I mean, I know it's house, so this
It's
I
kind
can
of
see it
funky.
happening.
It's got some funk to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. And if you go to shekilledthenext.com and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you will see that it's a site by Gomez Creative Labs.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, son.
Full circle. Nice. Go check
Yeah.
it out, guys.
Yeah, check it out.
Post links, man.
Yeah, I'm real proud of that kid. He's killing that music thing. And
is he? Is it a group?
Yeah,
that's a group.
She sings. He comes up with the beats and
yeah,
and it's really fun. We might try to get them, the entire group, together on the show. I'm gonna see if they're down for that. But
what's the other guy?
It's really cool to hear their technique and how they pulled this off. And it was like, because he's in Chicago, she's in LA.
Both too? Oh wow.
Yeah.
And what's the guy?
It's just the guy in the background.
Yeah.
He plays guitar, I believe. He plays like the bass and other instruments. Yeah.
And he got the old emo haircut in here. I got to.
Everyone's like, "Look at you, looking like flock of seagulls." Me and Ryan are like, "Flock of seagulls." He looks like Alf.
Yeah, just like if Alf, you take Alf's hair and instead of it being combed in and just pull it this way.
Yeah. We call him
like in his artist bag right now. That's okay.
On Midway Radio, we call him Bangs God.
Yeah. Is his hair shaved? Is his hair shaved on the side?
It's down to if you know Clipper Talk, it's down to a 1. Maybe a 1.5.
Yo, does he pull it up into a ponytail when he just doesn't?
No, he just puts a cap on. But then when he takes his cap off, he does this whole thing.
Oh no!
I'm like, boy, if you don't get
dude. I like how you use Alf as a descriptor. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read Dave's message. It says a book or audiobook by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic talks about having an idea and not acting on it. Sometimes years later, someone else will have that idea and act on it. Yeah. The idea wants to be made and doesn't care who to. And this is the number one tip that I have for anyone who has ideas running through them. Write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. Because ideas become important when they have an existence. If you're just thinking about stuff, ideas come and go, thoughts come and go. And how many times have you been dreaming and then you're like, "Oh, I have to write that down." No, I'll remember it. And then you come back and you're like, "Damn, I wish I would have wrote it down."
Some people will keep a book by their nightstand.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people
give it an existence. And then that way, that's your first step. Hey Steve, how's it going? Good to see you. So yeah, anyway, like if you write down your idea and then find some folks that can support your efforts, and don't be so protective of the idea. Like if you build a team that can support you and then see where it goes, because that's also the fun part, right?
Collaboration.
I like the process than I do the actual finish of kind of anything. The process is the fun part. And and then once you get to that finish line, that's cool. Congratulations, and now move on to the next thing.
Kind of, yeah.
You know?
Give
Like,
it a thumbs up. Good job.
Like, imagine, you guys remember going to school and you're like working. Like we went to AI, working, and then you did all your finals. It's senior year, and you graduate. You throw your hat up in the air, and then you stand there and you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Right back at
Like
school.
for me, the finish is so empty. There's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a totally valid point that I think people forget. I mean, a lot of being creative and being an artist is about the process. I mean, you're a painter not because you have a bunch of paintings in your garage, because you sit your ass on a chair and you paint. Like, you have to love the process, because once it's done, what are you going to do? Just like lay down and die, or like sit and watch Wheel of Fortune? Like, I mean,
that's still on too.
Yeah, I know. I'm 75. I've been watching it for 45 years.
He's 75. He's been watching it for 82 years.
And the same people. That's what's crazy, is the same host.
Legs.
He kind of looks the same. He like robot.
Yo, we call that LA or Hollywood elite. That's that level of plastic surgery you can't buy.
Yeah. Right.
Or his jeans. I thought Kelly Ripa was in that, but it's starting to fade a little bit there. Shout out to Kelly. Like, I'm just saying.
Shout out to Kelly Ripa.
Shout out to Kelly Ripa. We know you watch, girl.
There's something
watch.
about those Mr. Sajak that's just different. Like, why is he still even Vanna's starting to be like, Vanna's like a, cool, hot grandmother, but like you can start to see that she's old. It's just like around, like it's nothing. Like it's the middle of the 90s, and he's just happy to be there.
Hey, I have a quick question. Do we want to go into Dave's question, or should we save that for next week?
I say save it.
I think it could get rather lengthy, so
it's gonna be, yeah.
It's a good one,
and we have to start out with that one. If we're going to do this next week, you have to the first one.
Because I thought that's where we were going to go, and then
sorry, I totally hijacked.
Oh no! This is a cool.
I was like, look at my thing, and
yo, watch this.
2 hours later,
now that I got you all captive.
That's the first time in a long time where I did this.
Pause.
Where you did what?
You said, "Look at my thing."
He just stopped the whole conversation. Pause. No, that's the first time when you said, "Oh, should we do it next time?" That I had to do this and look at the bottom right-hand corner. I was like, "Oh, look at the time." I didn't realize that one. Yeah, that one will go too long. Yeah, let's give it at the beginning.
Yeah, that deserves a good amount.
Because we'll be like, we'll talk about it, and then like 10 minutes later, but okay, cool, because we know it's going to take too long to get into it.
Yeah. I definitely want to talk about that, Dave. So you guys are going to have to come back next week. We're not going to plan anyone.
See you next week, Dave.
We're not going to plan anyone because we want to talk about Dave's topic.
It's a good one too.
It's gonna be good.
It's got a lot of good layers. So
it's gonna go. It's gonna yeah.
Is there a elevator title we can give it to people preview
for next week? No.
Nice.
It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it.
Come back.
Yeah.
No, Charlie, this is marketing.
It's gonna get heated. Let's just say people might throw stuff on the ground and they get so upset.
There we go.
Dave is in next week. Next week sounds good. Let us know if you want to join, Dave.
Yeah. Or call in using the Sketch Zone hotline. Leave some hot takes.
Sketch Zone hotline. So before I go too far,
oh really?
Yeah, right. I wanted to.
You already did that.
I wanted to showcase a friend of the show.
Oh.
And this is not artist inspiration.
We need to showcase section.
Is this a new thing? Like you You technically got this. You just made a whole new segment. I want to showcase somebody, but it's not my artist inspiration.
Well, no, let me explain.
He signed off. He signed off.
Yeah, I know, but hopefully he'll come back and watch the show. That's Joey Wall. He was here, but he had to go to work, I believe. He's in England, and this is what happens when you don't tag us when you actually.
Oh, he had one.
He had one.
Yeah, but I had to go find it. But anyway, this is his composer Toad in Open Water, and I think it was totally worth.
Totally. I went. He had mentioned we missed it, and then I went and looked, and I was like, "What?"
Yo, let's do the tags. Come on, let's tag it, guys.
Yeah, just
tag it.
Make sure that you go through.
Great.
Tag a person or whatever the button says.
Yeah.
And
well, this is really nice.
This
is
Toad
the work on the water and the lighting is just so cool.
Because it's really simple water.
The motion, like the motion
is very It's very, very technical and like intricate, even though it seems simple. Hey, look at all these reflections. That's good.
True that. Oh, let me go ahead.
This Toad has lost himself. He is not directing anybody but his feelings right now. Can we talk about?
He's got the symphony in his head. There's not even anybody else there.
He's directing the feeling. It is literally an empty pond behind him.
In my head.
He got dressed up and he's just doing this for himself. Technically, if you hear him, it's just he has his iPad or iPhone.
Do it for yourself. That's what Carlos said.
Yeah,
that's it.
Let it go. Do it for yourself and let it go. Let it go.
Hug it out.
Hug it out. Well,
with yourself.
All right.
With yourself while I stuck.
While we're here, let's go ahead and get into these artist inspiration.
Oh.
You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life. You're the inspiration.
Ooh, I'm inspired already.
I knew it. And I was having second thoughts about mine this week. I can't stand you, Carlos.
So, we talked about Peter Hahn a little bit earlier. This dude gives me that same. And who's the Tony Leonard? Yeah, Tony Leonard kind of drew stuff like this live on the show, which blew my mind.
The technical drawing artist, 2D artists, they can just put detail on top of detail. Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. So we're gonna look at Kim Jung-ji.
Found it out.
I don't know if he's in the U.S. or if us is part of his name, but anyway. This dude, he just.
Oh, is that
whoa! I just realized what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
This might be
an flagged on YouTube.
An SFW.
Whoa, that is freaky.
This crazy Batman looking dude.
Well, it's Batman.
Look at that's a studio, son. Like again, you want to talk about someone who probably enjoys the process.
Jesus Christ. Like that just
this dude.
He's got sculpting too?
Lives in the process. Well, this is a studio. It's hard to know.
By the way, he puts his own bubbles in his Coca-Cola.
Stupid.
This dude's wall of fame is.
Got the old school. Check out the old school refrigerator though, with all the bottle caps and stuff on it. It's got a little bit of like showing you a little bit of personality in what he is. A little bit of a pack rat. Let's call a spade a spade.
I believe that magnet there is. I think that's a Chicago Cubs thing.
Yeah, stop it. I think it's Detroit Pistons. You're crazy.
See you later, Landon. Good seeing you. Kinda virtually. Good reading your words.
They inspired us. Your words.
So yeah, this dude. Let's take a look at some more of this. Oh, here's some process.
You got a process.
See, that's like what Peter Hahn was doing. Just like
he's just throwing it down.
Wiping it
on one of those stupid pins too that like you can never really draw intricate with.
Yeah.
Like look at the top of the helmet, and then all of a sudden he's just doing like these big broad strokes of blackness.
Like how
making me upset.
How does he like the composition? Like he already has
He
And it
has
just
in his
comes
head.
the scale, the size, and proportions, and everything just is in place. It
This is
just,
the thing you learn how to draw when you first learn how to draw. That like he just mastered it. You know, like you start on one section and you build out from there. Like that's how I was drawing growing up. Like when you're trying to like
I mean,
build comic
maybe
book stuff,
he's
but I can't do it. You figure. Look at him.
maybe he's like making it up on the fly. I mean, I think to some extent he's got to be, but his sense of
But the elephant is based off. The elephant is like the main like proportional thing. Then he bases it off of that,
Or
it's
Yeah.
or it's
really loud music, and I
or the
can't.
helmet. And sometimes,
Yeah, man.
and sometimes the pictures look as they should because it's perspective. is
Someone
like,
said, "Hey, look, Joe Budden."
nice. This is good, man.
So yeah, this dude just imagine being
That dude.
imagine being ink, and this guy picks up your pen, and then he puts you on this paper. Imagine how happy of
how
ink
good you feel about yourself.
Or he's gonna use a lot of you.
I'm chosen. I know what to do.
He's picking me, and I know what to do. That's awesome. It's
Look at this war scene is bananas.
bananas.
He's got it.
With the loud
Whatever
music.
it is, he's
It
got it.
is, yeah, he's got it. He's the it dude.
Look at just
The long sigh.
yeah. This picture here, I saw this one, and then I went to
So-
my iPad. I went to my iPad, and I gave my iPad a dirty look. Like, why
You
don't
went to your
my
iPad
city
and
drawings look like
sold
this?
it.
You and these like battling
like-
with these inanimate objects.
Here's the thing: is like in this one, that guy. If you look at it, the perspective is. His proportions are wrong, but you don't know if he did it intentionally because they still work, or if it's like a function of him. It's like he probably did that on purpose and it works fine. But like those hands are big and the feet are kind of big, but like it works totally perfectly well.
Right.
And someone
That's
gave
nuts.
him an eggplant. Holy Christ. Yeah, there's some color for you. Just throwing.
Bobby
down.
Chu has an interview with this guy.
Oh yes?
That-
And Steve was saying in the chat.
Of course he does.
Folks who are interested.
Bobby Chu is the man.
Yeah, look at, dude. Oh boy, I just realized.
Yo, Carlos.
I just realized what was happening here.
You keep getting duped by the detail. You pull out, you're like, yo.
I know. At first, you're like, okay, and then you start focusing, and then your eyes like, oh, okay. She's about to pop this dude. Moving on. Here's a pig that's making bacon. Good.
Then you realize what he's doing. He's making bacon on top of his stomach. Look underneath.
He's making bacon out of his own bacon.
Yeah. Look underneath. Killing himself right now.
Yeah, this dude is crazy, crazy talented. Look at there. He threw down some pencils just to show you he can.
Just to let you know.
I got it like that too.
You got pay your bills.
I'm not even gonna play that. I'm just gonna so I'm just gonna
play it. Let's play it.
I'm just gonna flip through here to see, because like in the beginning,
we get the idea.
like, in the beginning, he's like all these little stick figures and stuff. I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding.
Yeah, if you go to the very beginning, it's just crap.
What was the title of a show a couple weeks ago? The bottom of your Instagram.
Oh,
yeah.
Embarrassed by the bottom of your
Instagram.
Instagram. Something tells me this is not going to happen here.
I
I mean,
He might be embarrassed by it, but
yeah.
upset by the bottom
Yeah.
of the Instagram.
I'd be embarrassed about
Hey,
this.
click on the Motorcycle Kids one. See, that's kind of fun because it has like a cartoony aspect to it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was dope.
Talking about super detailed motorcycle.
Like some Mad Max stuff.
That's yeah, Mad Max. That's what I was thinking of. That's amazing.
What's the frog? Oh, the lizard they're chasing. That's funny.
Oh. Yeah, man.
He's really good.
Instagram.com/Kim Jong
Ill.
Yeah, ill. Like
Kim Jong Ji us. Kim Jong Ji. Yeah, thanks, Steve. That's it for me.
Yeah, that's a good
That
one.
was a
You
big
guys,
one.
you guys take
You
the
can go to
baton.
sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Take a nap.
you need to chill out with all that stuff.
Charles, you feel like going?
After that.
Yeah.
Something tells me Charlie always.
He always brings fire.
Here we go. Here we go.
He's like, I'm gonna bring up my Pinterest.
I added to my Pinterest this week too.
Yeah, girl.
Put some stuff in the vault. I have a special vault one, which I don't show anybody. It's for when I want to do projects. The really fire stuff. Pulling it up right now. All right, guys. So this week, I went a little different this week because I want to show an interest that I have, and I'm looking for my sketch zone reference. Where is that? There it is. All right. Let's share the screen. Application window. Let's go. Boom. So this week I went a little bit different. Currently, I'm in the process of learning a bunch of other types of artwork.
Ooh, another abstract.
So I'm learning Houdini right now, and like,
good luck. Hops, dops, chops, cops, slops.
I'll give Charlie. I give Charlie 3 weeks.
It's been a year off and on, but I have been able to procedurally make my own pillar. It looks really cool and all this good stuff. So yeah, I'm having little victories. But anyway, I'm really into. I've always liked visual effects, and I like the motion graphic side of things as a 3D generalist in terms of these type of things that you see here, like these like abstract things. So I kind of talked about it earlier about the experimental stuff that I really like, because in these things can like turn into like really cool artistic pieces. And my continual development of what I want to be as a CG generalist is moving more into the technical director kind of space of like, yo, how can you do these abstract types of artwork, but then still put it in a commercial sense, like what you see from Intagma with a Nike ad, or in title sequence, or a main on title thing for a movie. And this guy, his name is Tim Borgman, and I found this through my Pinterest dealings this week, and I was like, fudge, this it's cool. Like I had to copy. What I do when I find one is like, if you can check here under my, you see all my little different, like, oh, it doesn't even show you. That sucks. Whatever. I was gonna try to show you my my folder, my sketch zone reference folder. Yeah, it's deep with like a bunch of different artists that we've done in the past. And this guy, like, I just had to save it. Like, I gotta look at this later, because people will be like, what are you looking at? Because it's the type of artwork where they're like, oh, that looks really cool. And I didn't want to look like I'm being distracted at work, but this stuff is cool. And like sometimes to make this stuff is even more interesting. You heard Jack talk about different like abbreviations that they have in Houdini for all these different simulation systems and effect systems stuff they have. And this stuff is just freaking cool. This guy does all that stuff, and like I have not, like, in terms of a background, every page I've gone to on this site is legit. Like, I think I have my backgrounds for my computer for like the next year and a half or longer, because everything is like weird and different and like cool, and you could say that, okay, cool, this dude's spent a month going down this rabbit hole of this weird stuff. But then it's just like the coloring and stuff is like interesting. If you look up a short film called Flower, it's called Flower, and another one called Velcro. The Velcro one is a short done in this abstract style for the company Velcro, and it kind of tells the story of how they invented Velcro. It's a really cool way where they've done a motion graphics piece on for a big brand like Velcro, and they rolled that out a couple months ago. It's really cool, but it's got some of the same stuff where these things. Imagine if this stuff was like moving and forming. It's really good. Let me go back. So this one's called Grow, and the other one, let's see what else we got. The one I have as my background right now, which caught my eye, which brought me to this page, was under Experimental, and it was well, all this stuff is badass, but I can't find it right now, but it was cool. Oh, there's a Flash player. It's not enabled. Okay, enable it. What is this?
Flash coming back, son.
Let's watch it. So this is stuff like an example of it moving.
More likely, it's been on this website for like 5 years.
Yeah, 2015. You're right, Jack. But to make this stuff for still, but then also to animate it and put it in motion, even cooler.
That's
amazing. That was one of my favorite parts of the visual effects when I was working on visual effects. Like the stuff these effects artists would come up with for like, they'd be like, okay, here's, Captain Incredible or whatever on the next superhero thing, and he's got to have this power that does whatever. And it's like, these directors don't know what they want. They're just like, some fire with some lightning and, make it like a spider web. And then the dude comes up with this thing and you're like, what is that? It's like crazy to see how it evolves.
And the more and more I get into this stuff, the more and more that's the stuff I like. Because I didn't see it before, but I see the artistry in it now, Because you find out when you get into a brief, like, they don't know what they want at all.
Well, it's hard to, how do you visualize something like, in their defense, like I would be able to just be like, I want it to look like, these are like so abstract and like bizarre. Like, I don't even know how you would describe some of this stuff.
And some of them, and they're really big images too. I keep finding that I'm having to like zoom out because it's like huge. But really cool, interesting stuff. If I can find one more here. We're getting old on some of these things. Like, I think it's actually my background right now. Oh, now we found his old Flash website, I think.
Stay strong, brother.
There it is. Here it is. This is the one. All right, where is it at? Like, this stuff was like interesting and like cool, where it looked like it was almost like paint frozen in time or something. But really big stuff. And I get it right in Pinterest. There it is. Yeah. But yeah, so check him out. His name is Tim Borgman. I'll put the website in the show notes. It's art.bt-3d.de, which is, come on, dude. But whatever. It's I found myself at lunch just like going through this whole thing because I was like, yep, I definitely have to show this today. I'm always leaning toward other things, other just straight 3D things, but this stuff here I thought was worth the show.
Yeah, that's really cool stuff.
Yeah, so check him out, Tim Borgman. Great work, man. I love it. Very inspirational, inspiring.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, it was this one. I was like, it was this one. Yeah, look at, like, they're glowing inside there. So I can only imagine what this looks like when it's building out, almost like a neural network or something. And then like it has these like weird clusters on the end, almost like little brains. It's like, or like pollination. It's weird. Digital pollination. Ooh, there's a word.
Bio-digital jazz, man.
Yeah, is that from a Tron?
Yes.
my favorite part, because
we always used to laugh at that.
Once again, that section there, the stuff they did with her little DNA, and he started doing stuff. Perfect thing to say at that point in time. Digital jazz man.
Digital jazz man.
Like,
Very
look at this
cool.
one.
That's just the close up of a snot loogie shooting.
And then shooting web.
Yeah.
You know?
Nasty.
But cool. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right. I'm going to go for something we haven't done in a long time.
Uh-oh.
Chris's creatures, look at him posing with this lion. That's not a real lion. He makes puppets and creatures. And like
You
crazy.
Crazy big?
Like crazy realistic and like
the
full
Narnia?
size for film. And you know
Is that the lion from
Narnia? Is that Narnia?
he doesn't disclose, but don't know. I wonder what
There's
it's for.
someone has that in their house, and right when you walk in, you poop yourself.
Yo, so
If you don't know that, if you don't
everything
know,
for this, is he doing?
No, but check it out. Hang on.
Is that a bra?
This is what made me caught my eye. I was like, what are those lions doing? And then I realized it was puppets. Because there's a dude in the right side one.
wow.
Oh my god!
Rolling it for film.
How badass of an actor do you have to be able to be a lion?
Like, get your own butt under you. And
So what? The other guy can't move because it's too heavy.
I don't know what they're doing
Yo,
with the other.
did that chick have a bunny
She's
on
got
the
a
back of
little
her bra?
backpack.
Yeah.
Like this weird turkey head character. Like, man.
Yo, Hollywood's weird. Like this is gonna be a great idea. I'm gonna be a turkey bartender on the
It's
Food
probably
Network.
for like wild turkey whiskey or something weird.
Right.
Like, what's this? This is how the actor has to drink their water, like snort it through their nostril. 'Cause this-
We're assuming they're drinking water. Maybe that duck
That's
has a
creepy.
coke problem.
The other duck one was the female one was creepy too outside. Can you imagine?
That's the one. Like, could you see?
They
Yeah,
want
just see
that's
that thing
amazing.
walking around the street. Like, I
Yo,
my
that would
panic.
freak a kid out. My
panic.
daughters would like scream in horror.
That
But
one,
here's some-
that shark one.
some
You go to
Jurassic
get in
Park
the
stuff.
you go to get in the
Ooh,
hot tub or
nice.
something, and that shark is chilling there.
Because they still use some animatronics and puppets for the latest films. It's not all CG,
Nice.
especially for like the really close-up stuff where the actors touch it or interact with it. Like, what is the? I would run so far.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. He's gonna look at the camera.
It's like, oh man, he's waddling. It's like Snuffleupagus against his like hood brother.
Oh man.
Right.
But yeah, dude, the shark stuff, and like this is a whole another level of craftsmanship too. To not only just have the creative sculptor and all that part in you, but also like knowing all the fabric. Like half of these guys are like engineers and they like work with chemicals and like grinding metals. Like the amount of stuff they know how to do is just nuts. Like, this is crazy. That's so realistic. Like, no, it's not loading, of course. But yeah. Check this dude out. Chris Creatures. His work is so, I mean, I'm sure it's not only his, but maybe it is. It's mostly him. He shows himself working with it, so.
That little green thing. Again, you know, going to the cartoony look. You're going
Yeah,
to
he's
real
got
and
some
badass.
style. Like this cool, like metal-looking hybrid creature.
Mm-hmm.
That's some stuff from, remember the Return to Oz? Those weird characters that
Yeah.
they came up with in that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you like post a photo like this. I'm like, I don't know, is that a real monkey you used as reference or is that your puppet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool stuff.
So cool.
Chris Creatures.
Nice.
That's it.
Wow.
Great.
Great job, guys.
Great week for the inspirations.
Mhm.
With that being said, hey Charlie, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
You can find me in a couple of different places. You can find me on Instagram, instagram.com/CharlieBW3. Twitter is CBW3. My website is carboncollective.com/CharlieBWilliams. LinkedIn.com/CharlieBWilliams.
Oh, look at you sneaking that in there. Go ahead.
And if you're looking
Trying to get a job. What's going
Nah.
on here?
if you're looking for me on that almighty Pinterest.com/CharlieBW3, get all that stuff in your life. It's really good. Get it.
So good. How about you, Jack?
I am at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack everywhere else, and I will certainly add to this list and keep folks updated as
Please do.
Pirates RBCs becomes bigger.
Looking great. Great looking work.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
And I'm Carlos. You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. The Sketch Zone. I almost made it an entire day without
You almost
tripping
did
over
it.
my words.
Almost.
This is Sketch Zone. You can go to sketch.zone. And then we have all the links to all the social media there, Facebook, Twitter,
Yes.
all over the place. We're all over the place. We're on Instagram, instagram.com/sketchzone podcast. And if you participate in the fun prompt, which this week is a werewolf fencing in the woods, or werewolf fencing woods.
Yeah, a lot of people
Woods.
pick up their own mind.
Well, yeah, the location, it says location woods, but you know,
Could be the woods. and the
handle
hood.
it. Make sure you go through the process of actually not just in the description saying at Sketch Zone. Make sure you go through the process of tagging us, so then that way it shows up properly and we're able to share it on our feed, as well as being able to show it to the people that watch this video. So yeah, let's see, going down my list of my checklist. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, the subscribe button is down there somewhere. If you're watching on Twitch, subscribe button is up there somewhere. Follow us and tell your friends. If you can't watch us live, go ahead and you can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, the almighty iTunes. I believe that's it, unless I'm forgetting something, y'all.
No, I
That's
think
it
you're
for
good.
now.
No? All right, then. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Next
y'all.
week, we're going to be having a really good, long conversation about something that's very important to artists,
Yes.
specifically artists. We're not going to be getting all bogged down and all that corny Adobe wants to do analytics stuff. None of that corny stuff.
I think it'd be a little bit of a debate.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of levels to it, a lot of components.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So until then, we're looking forward to seeing your drawings or your interpretations of werewolf fencing woods.
Yeah, get out there.
All right.
Don't suck.
Have a good week. What did he say?
I said get out there and don't suck.
Don't suck. Have a good week.
See you guys.
Okay.